Huh? Sorry. I have iPad.
Good morning, everybody. Finally, apologies for the tech difficulties. Yeah.
Paragate
para sumgate body swaha tayata gate paragate para sumgate body swaha tayata gate paragate para sumgate body swaha.
Wala so simje tamje go do tobjala na ma che ba sanje go ma ren go je chin ne ja to ba sha ene di chi de jang ju sim ba la ja na chu shi de nyam lang go lang wa le xin go xin ba de tu go le tu ji shu ma do wa ji go do an ka su ba wa de ka su re da ka ja ka su ba wa de ene da da de da ka ja je ke se chen bu shi wa le se ba chun ju go de ne ten she ti me ni ge sam sam cha.
And we begin by setting our motivation to do whatever we possibly can to attain the purest state of enlightenment in order to benefit all living beings. And in order to do that, of course, we have to perfect all the trainings on the Bodhisattva path. To perfect those trainings in turn, we have to have a good understanding of what they are. And then to gain that, we need to be able to rely upon an unmistaken text. And thus it is that we are here this morning to listen to the Bodhisattva's way of life, the King of Mind Training texts as composed by the great master Shantideva. And as we normally do as well, we begin by setting up the merit field, and the merit field consisting of, in actual fact, our own root guru in the aspect of Shakyamuni Buddha. All around us are all kind, mother, sentient beings, without exception.
And Ranga Duna said Lama Tuba over there and Shaji Chani, yes, Sani, Yamjaka, Dusako, Lusa Nama, Kula Chugu, Omega Doja Soa, what in the Chikombasha, and the Chiwo on cover Tamba Amo to go home with Yigisun to set up.
The figure in the space in front representing the merit field is has one face, two hands, with the right hand in the earth-touching mudra, the left hand holding an alms bowl filled with nectar in the meditative equipoise mudra. And that the figure is also marked by 3 syllables, Om at the crown, A at the throat, and Hung at the heart center.
What did the and to go one level, Sapato Mebatuna, and it's a Castle, and it Castle. Choju and it Sanjay Singla Vesetron and Dedale and more Veset Tobalatenet and Casore and it Casore Vesetron and it Casore Takajo Vesetron and it Yeshiba Chantane Takajo Choju and the Sanjay that Jaju Sembeke Kusun to be Yubalan number and Toba Shaja to be number Chantane team and and it now only on go chula, which is we can what did
Then light rays emanate from the hung at the heart center, going out into the pure realms, inviting back of the wisdom beings and the empowering deities from that natural abode. The wisdom beings dissolve into the central figure. The empowering deities confer the nectar of empowerment, some of which overflows, simultaneously producing the figure of Akshobhya at the crown.
What is compassion? What is the chat? What is compassion? And that, and this Rangi Duna never, Dungan Nagala never, Lama to on what the Kusun to you, the temperature and town at the way you check it, Mudu with the compassion. Rangi Tawani was just the Tamjala mean, Takaja, and to make it natural some done. And the Caso. Dewa to get there, Midiba to wear the chicken and you got a telemission in Nijako, and Dewa the Tendu with Chabako. And it that to make Judah Jawajata, Jawa the target chicken, some general. And so the Jiga to the Simja Tamja and the Simja Jiga, Dewa Tamja to let Tamja Chema to and then the jet when you got the Sula and the Simja to Amla, Umbas of a Sanjim. Then Rangi Duna said, Lama to be on the corner to that Kongi compassion, Maton, Tom the Truba Chigi, some compassion.
And in reflecting on the enlightened qualities of a Buddha's body, speech, mind, enlightened activities, etc., we develop triple aspect faith, of pure faith, manifest faith, and faith of conviction. And so, as well as that, I mean, focusing on the sentient beings all around us, the kind mother sentient beings, going through the various sufferings that are part and parcel of cyclic existence, so that they are bereft of the happiness they so badly seek, and they're inundated by the suffering which they so badly want to avoid. And from that, then, we develop this sense of compassion, wanting to remove that suffering, and the love, wanting to bestow that happiness in sentient beings. And when we take on that to a greater extent, developing personal kind of responsibility, we reach the extraordinary intention of taking on that responsibility to remove all the suffering of all sentient beings and bestow all happiness to them. But of course, very quickly, we have a reality check and realize that we cannot do that for even one person. And so we look for the example of what state of mind is capable of doing that. And that, of course, is the enlightened mind of a Buddha. And so it reaches our kind of conclusion then, that we realize that we have no choice but to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. And so it is that only that enlightened mind that has, for the benefit of sentient beings, developed the mind of enlightenment, for the benefit of sentient beings, progressed along the path, and for the benefit of sentient beings, manifested complete and full enlightenment. And so that is our goal, to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings.
What did it and simply Tamjaki to the Sanjay Koma, Tomato, Tobachi, some compassion, Tomato, Tomatia, you want to Tobachi, some compassion.
And so that to attain that state of enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, we develop that special intention, that motivation. I've got to do this. I've got to do this as quickly as possible.
What are the some done? Did and it because of the Ranginga Kotola, actually choose some such.
But then through that thinking, then we visualize the syllable a at the heart center. And so at the a then is transformed or transforms into the lotus mandala seed. Oh, sorry, the moon mandala disc.
What I can tell you, the niggas, some Tanjago, Sanjay Komama, you wanted to bring to what is not the cover to Zetcher. And not the you didn't want to, and you don't do something about the water check.
And so then this I that wants to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. Where is this I or self? So we go through the analysis of searching through body and mind for such a manifest self, and we find that it is not to be found objectively. It is merely that which is imputed by thought.
What the Kaja Kazam de Loshane, and it didn't give a loti. You then do some never give a loti, the loti, give it. What that is, and it Dojika was Zangabachi, Junior, and Taveta Langta Windows, there was some such.
And then from that mindset that is merely focusing on the mere absence of the object of negation, and arises a white 5-pronged Vajra, which is standing upright on the moon disk at our heart. And at the heart center of the Guru Manindra, the Buddha, who is the merit field, is a similar combination of a moon disk with the vertical upright 5-pronged Vajra. And so we try to focus the mind with focused meditation on that combination of moon disk and Vajra at the heart center of the Buddha in front.
Lama Tubiang Lama Tubiang Tugala Tawa to Jetsanga, Yoga Tile, we are set part of Meba Trine, and the Tago the Tumbetsanga diet of Munimuni Yoting compassion.
And from that moon disk and the Vajra at the heart center of the Buddha, countless light rays emanate. And that also now, that combination of moon disk and Vajra is joined by the name mantra of Shakyamuni Buddha, which encircles the Vajra on top of the moon disk. Similarly, at the heart center of ourselves and all the charismatic sentient beings all around us is the same combination of a moon disk, vertical or standing Vajra, surrounded by the name mantra Tayata Om Muni Muni Maha Muni E Soha.
And the Gombala Tene, Tumbe Tugu, Tao Doje Tsangaba, the Omuni Mamonis, we say part of Meva Trine, Randa part of Meva Trine, and Trine, and Rangi, Randa Ranga was Simja Tamjake, Tao Doje Tsangaba, and Tumbe Tsanga de la Patim, some such.
And so the countless rays of light emanating from the moon disk, Vajra, and mantra at the heart center of Shakyamuni Buddha dissolves into ourselves and all other sentient beings, and down through the crown and into our own combination of moon disk, Vajra, and mantra.
Tilatene Rangi, Randa Rangi Tako Simja Tamjake, Tukayo, Tawa Doje Tsangabata, Tumbe Tsangatel, we say part of Meva Trine, and a Toma Mevan Sabe, Tibativa, Kabata, Ranchenzenta, Danzi Maribata, Di Ongi Shabe, and the Pacha de Yama, Changche Tabachon, some such.
And then through this being empowered in this way, countless light rays begin to emanate from all of us, ourselves and all other sentient beings, and thereby affecting a very powerful purification process, whereby all negativities in general are purified, particularly those related to self-cherishing and self-grasping. They are completely and utterly purified.
That the only Shabe Lenya Bakazaway, and Toma Mevan Tanda Pato, Naming Tebo, Taganishi, Noa Gunte, 아니 그서 아니 가서 대 남이 제부 다 남이 제부 레니바 컨테스 남이 제부 컨테스 녀에 레사유나 다가네 시게 아니 제바규데 녀와규데 단텔라 소바 컨테스 사유바 레니바 사오데 정제 다수 섬사 학변도 랑젠젠다 단지 머리바 아니 바샤다 제바가 매바 차수 섬사 어디에 공부자
And so we're talking about all of the negativities that are capable of producing a ripening effect, the causal effect that is in line with the action or the experience, and the environmental effects, etc. All of these are completely and utterly purified, kind of really stopped in their tracks and eradicated, and particularly the negativity is associated with self-cherishing minds, self-grasping mind, as well as their imprints are completely and utterly purified. And so we have that joy of relief of having purified all of these negativities, and yet should there still be remaining negativities that might ripen into their ripening effect, and so thereby producing suffering effect, that I vow that I will be able to use all such situations as conducive conditions to practice the Dharma, to integrate it into my practice, without a doubt. And so with this intention, with this determination, I am here ready to listen to some verses from this great mind training text, the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. Shoktrang gyatang guju gochik wogi tik de somba zoba bangwala som.
zoba bangwala ngede diji yanjo shejo janre dade gubju goji dangbo sto niba de la regret tubala ni skiswa
laso
niba de la regret tubala ni jeta khadu shungkhara ma lo sho niba de regret tubala ni ja sanje da semje la debe doja tadu 토바당 아니 니가래 대베 산제 토바라 숭발라 돌레미리 바우스 sabje 니체 다 당보들라 데가자 산제의 심제라 대베다 되자 타도 토바들라 당보들라 자월레사 대다 고자 망보시 대다 폰조 파류친스 자와티체.
And so we've got a quick review. We're looking at the second of the outlines, and this is related to the second half of verse 112. And so these outlines are then establishing this point through reasoning. And this has two subsections. And that is saying, due to the faith in both sentient beings and Buddhas, one can attain the ultimate goal. And secondly, through that faith in both, that they kind of perform an equal share in the capacity to attain enlightenment. Therefore, we should not drop one for the other. So with regard to the first point, I think it's the second half of the 112th verse, which reads, "For many who have pleased them have thereby reached perfection." And so this point simply says that through scripture and the meaning, through establishing the reasoning in that, it states that that through faith in both Buddhas and sentient beings, that many have attained the ultimate goal of fulfilling the two purposes, the two excellent purposes, and brought them to completion. And so this refers to the attainment of enlightenment. And it's merely saying that those Buddhas of the past and those who are on the path in the present and those who will attain enlightenment in the future will all follow this practice.
니가 대배해서 니바 산제다 심제 니바를 대배해서 로다 대바서도 다 대바를 릭숨을 봐 다외도 봐 이지게도 봐 원도게 대바서 로다 가자 산제라다 다외도 봐 이지게도 봐 원도게 대바 로다 산제는 생각 주는 원도게 대바 로다 산제가 제반나텔라 다외도 봐 아니 산제 가나 바텔라 아니 그 람다 티템 바텔라 이지지에 이지게 대바 다 심제들라 다외 대바 심제들라 다외도 봐 심제 근데 제바 이나요 수술 편토고 요바지 다와게 되지 로아 산제 줄을 주고 되지 보고 그래 다 니가 대비해서 산제 토바 송발로 돌레미리 봐 산제 토발로 송바 임바인서 안직리에 직도에 요마 싸war래 심제 남다 자와라 산제 추조 자와라 결라 구제 대시도 심제 남에 지 출스
And so it's saying that want to attain enlightenment, if you feel it's necessary to attain enlightenment, then you need to follow this path, these sets of trainings. You need to adopt this attitude towards all other sentient beings. And that this kind of feeds into the triple faith that we refer to, the faith of conviction, the manifest faith, and the pure faith in the veracity of enlightenment itself, of the necessity of attaining Buddhahood, and to dedicate ourselves thus. And so the second of these subheadings refer to the fact that we should not drop one of sentient beings or Buddha for the other, because that faith in both is that which serves an equal kind of part in attaining enlightenment. And so this 113th verse reads, "A Buddha's qualities are gained from the sentient beings and the conquerors alike. So why do I not respect them in the same way as I respect the conquerors?"
다 되네 이마연사 셈제난다 겨월래 아니 산제게 제부 산제게 아니 최 두발라서 최 산제게 연대도 두발라 아니 직바 차대도 자발라서 아니 겨월로 구바 지고 요래서 제라 대신도 셈제라 구바 미제 가서 구바를 제바 민바데 미제바데 지수 다 도단 거래서 문제나 제부 두발 니가 개침보 차대가 지 개침보세 지 개침보 맞지와데 도단 거래서 지 출루인데 밑에 배치로다 되게 저번에 리과도 좀 차고 못었어 밑에 배치로서 네가 개치 못 쓰고 못도 어떻게.
And so this point is simply that it is through reliance upon sentient beings and the conquerors that we can enjoy the results of enlightenment, to attain enlightenment. And so if we are to simply pay respect to the conquerors and yet to withhold that respect from sentient beings, the question has to be asked, what kind of spiritual tradition is that? You cannot progress with favoring one over the other. And so that we must have equal respect for both sentient beings and Buddhas.
단제대 산제를 초바 표현을 초바 리그먼저 망보 용거데 초배 쪼는데 두배 초바래도 두배 초바서도 심제를 펴봐 두배래도 심제를 펴봐 맞도 발라 두배 초바 용해 거야면도 두배 초바 쏘 심제를 펴봐 두배래도 좋아 是吧？别人我都讲究个sem界的他们这个都三界国嘛托个意思sem界个都三界国嘛托吧这个意思的安尼给这个叫把它查的sem界个都一般是查个多是吧？但俺那个chế度意思呢安尼年度叫把它马上这个么多讲究什么叫把这个么多是吧？但主要sem界个chế度一般意思安尼三界就了做的是吧？安尼给为三是个名托也的sem界了等于用这个多sem界了偏不主要三了没完了给为三是名托个么多
And so there's great lot of talk regarding offerings, and we can make many different kinds of offerings. But the ultimate offering is the offering of practice. And that is to the Buddhas, of course, we're talking. And it's saying, what does that offering of practice actually look like? It is our actions of benefiting other sentient beings. That's what it amounts to, and that's what it boils down to. And so the main offering, the main means of pleasing the Buddhas is to benefit sentient beings. And that when we generate that aspiration to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, what we are doing is pledging ourselves to be of benefit to other sentient beings. This is what translates as the actions of a bodhisattva, a child of the conquerors. And so they get this label as child of the conquerors because they are so dedicated to benefiting other sentient beings.
别人我说三个人们结了恰恰吧一呢，三个人们结吧恰恰吧一呢，你别人让瑞了他给呢一些吧，但一些吧见长的，什么这个见长的，让个就往这么往涂个红色，涂个红了，原先真的什么这他们这个那段地地他们叫爬山，对了的说了么啥过的，什么这他们这个那段地地他们叫爬山。 ane de pa sebe ge ane sunam de ane choji gewa seda chabal ya choba phu ne ane de da ge gu ne ane guzon to ge yende ma yi shi ba jian zhang ge duo ge se sem jian ge de jie ba yin ba yin za yi shi ba jian zhang ai ge duo di men na ge men duo ge se se de so sa de jiang jie de sem jian de de yong gu duo
So in Tantra, what we are attempting to do is through generating ourselves as the deity and then inviting the wisdom beings to come. So here, then from being empowered by the wisdom beings in a way, we send out light rays from our own syllables of Ah, Hong, particularly Hong at the center, and that light is sent out to be of benefit to sentient beings and sending out emanations of ourselves to be of maximum benefit to sentient beings. And then the merit that is accumulated thus is thereafter offered to the enlightened ones. And so this is the way in which it works. And so we get the qualities of a Buddha's body, speech, and mind are actualized through this system of the wisdom beings allowing us to be of benefit to sentient beings and then through that merit offering back to the Buddhas and so on to accumulate to actualize these qualities.
동아 강에 값서 이면 도에 값서 이면 나에 값서 강에 값서는 샤에 매되게 산제 고마 주발라 다 지금 샘쟁의 더 주비에게 내가 좀 고좀 맞좀 봐 산제의 연대 주사 촌에 매되게 지래 연대 주사 매되게 지래.
And so we must see this quintessential connection between fulfilling the purpose of sentient beings and being able to cultivate the qualities or the characteristics of enlightenment. This is an inviolable connection, and that without fulfilling sentient beings, without benefiting sentient beings, working for their benefit, then there is no possible way to cultivate the qualities of the Buddha's body, speech, and mind, and enlightened activities. And so, therefore, the conclusion from that is that sentient beings then become of paramount importance in our practice, whether we are on the Sutrayana path or the Mantrayana path, that it is sentient beings and understanding the essential quality of sentient beings that then we can place them in a position of absolute importance in our lives and want to be of benefit them, to fulfill their purpose, to be beneficial and help them.
나 근데 이마인자 아니 샘제가 팬도 맞아 네 개바데 아니 랑게 남주고 돈에 팬토도 맞아 팬토베게 팬토 투교게 팬토토에 여바데 아니 렌체네 아니 팬토토와 삼로 땅이나 아니 샘제 탐제라 니링메베 샘냠예 아니 팬바 줍투에 정보로 왔디 중앙에는 아니 산제가 살라 람예다 녀다 조에다 아니 디 주포송 소바데 줍투에 정보로 와 와다 디 내주 신에서 다들 대셔 뭐 잡는 연구해야 돼. 그래서 라라 팬도가 제다 삼로 야고 다들 레라버다. 라라 뇌게 근데 정도 들라 강한 책을 열어 봐. 아니 디레 오 삼로 띵 사본에 따라 아니 디게 팬토야지 요래. 팬토야 요래. 팬토 요바도 못해 봐이나 아니 딜라 쇠바 곰 딜라 잠바도 저와 게토에 그 고갑 요래 승도 다들 좀세 멍분에 장는 송고해도 다 내가 대 잡으러 와.
So, therefore, the point should drive home the necessity of emphasizing benefit towards all sentient beings. And this is in spite of the fact that sentient beings may choose to harm us. So we have got to put in place the our valuation of sentient beings as being so high, so important, that even though they act with harm, we do not take that on, but we respond with benefit. Our response must be in the accepting of that harm, and in our subsequent attitude should be that of wanting to benefit that person. And that this is the measure of how well we are considering sentient beings to be all important. And also it is that which naturally dissolve our discriminating attitude towards sentient beings, holding some close and others distant and so on. And so it is that which brings us closer to enlightenment, that which allows us to accumulate an excellent merit in the kind of in the purpose of cultivating these qualities to completion. And though there are many different explanations of why this is the right attitude to take, that and we understand how difficult it is to be able to respond in a positive way to harm directed at ourselves. Yet when we think deeply on it and we consider just how important all our interactions with sentient beings are, simply because of the kindness and the part that sentient beings play in our spiritual progress, then we can start to make the correct choices every time. And so then we have to be clear on our objective as well, not just the benefit of this life, or of a positive future rebirth, or even of liberation, but to attain the omniscient state of enlightenment itself. And so because from that position, that we can be of maximum benefit. And so once we have that in mind, there's such a gigantic objective, then all harms will appear, minimal, and we can deal with them more easily.
다 연대 민년바 인바 인상 가사다 대바 충바 고바데 태기면도 뒷방와 진짜 딜라바딜라 안티다다 바디 케라 태기면도 바 저번체 다 니가 대베스 니가라 대베스 체와 산제기 줄송베 대바 충바 고므리바 산제 연대 차셰 잠dembe 셈제를 최베 소노 타예바다 dembe dembe 리바 오체 subject 숨자.
Okay, the next main heading is a third heading, and this is the one which states the dispelling of objections. And this has 3 subheadings. The first of these, this objection comes in like this. It's saying that that because Buddhas and sentient beings are not similar in good qualities, therefore, it is incorrect to say that they are similar, that they're alike. And so we're abandoning or overcoming that objection. Secondly, is that through great faith in both, they have an equal part played in the attainment of enlightenment. Therefore, it is right that we should be seen to be have alike in qualities in that sense. And thirdly, it's saying that faith is justified because for any sentient beings who even has a small fraction of the qualities of enlightenment, if we should make offerings to them, then the merit is inconceivable. It's limitless. And so the first of these is in verse number 114. Of course, they are not similar in the quality of their intentions, but only in the fruits that they produce. So it is in this respect that they have excellent qualities and are therefore said to be equal.
What Sanje the Semje Nide, Yende Minyaba Yinzang, Ruata, Minyaba Res, Minyaba Yimbe, and Kuba Nyabachawa Miriba, Kuba Nyabachawa, the Trimido Nyabaina, Chambaina, and then you get Satakata de Casora, then you Sambe Yende, Rangi Nyamba Joga Minja, Sambe Yende Chipare, Tende Yimba Yinza, and the Casada. Dende Chiba Yinza, Casada, Kuba Chigures, Kuba Nyaba Chigures, this is your mares. Then you get Sambe Yunder Rangitone, Nyaba Joba Membares. Mingi, Tibu Sangi, Chuchavatan, Aranzo, Letambo, and the Sanjay Sala Comba, Tibu Tubala T, and Casodata, Casoda Lam Rimbashin, the Lam the Togo. Ruang Yanjo Janze Yanta Tawa Sacho Lamga Rimki Tony Togo to and the Table Sanjay Jujavala Tavias. That in Niga Sanjay Jujava the Tawa Meadow, Nanga Toka Chijo the Jagamarite, Naranzola Sanjay, Table Sanjay Tobala, and the Tobiga that Table Sanjay Tobiga and Jujavala Tawa Imbe, Tawa Imba in that, then I didn't Sumbaras, Semjan Namla Kubachena, Sanja Tobe Yunde Yube, Teach Deda Deda asa shingdu nyamba yino deda ta sanje komando beke and jusasa shingdu nyamba yino shaba wacham.
And so here it's saying that the objection is that the Buddhas and sentient beings are not alike in their good qualities. Therefore, they're not deserving of equal respect. And so the answer to that is that, yes, they, in terms of their intention, that we are not positing that they are alike or the same in terms of good qualities of intention. But in terms of their being similar in as the basis, as creating, presenting the cause for the result of enlightenment, they are both similar in that respect. And therefore, sentient beings are deserving of respect, and that in terms of, since they have the quality to attain in Buddhahood, therefore we should have equal respect for them.
니바 니가라 데베서 체외서 로다 산제라 데바다 심제라 데베 치외 산제게서 주르충바 콤바네서 산제 주르충바 고므리바네 자왈레 잠셈 데라 쳐바 칸 데네 심제 쳐와 니자 산제 데베 손남칸 데야 산제 쳐와 니자 산제 추주 차유라 데나 데다 냐바 되자.
So the second of these points is that through great faith in both, then they can both kind of similarly act as a cause for enlightenment. And so therefore we should familiarize with this. Verse number 115 and the first half of 116, they read, "Whatever merit comes from venerating one with a loving mind is due to the eminence of sentient beings. And in the same way, the merit of having faith in Buddha is due to the eminence of Buddha. Therefore, they are asserted to be equal in the share they have in establishing Buddha qualities."
잠바 그 셈제 탐제라서 잠베 셈다 뎀발라 초바 기베사다 그 로다가 장선 komne 어느 데레 제바이나 어느 제 잡아다 니제라서 거는 어느 가서 소놈다 바도메 바 사기로 통조수 중화 간이 바데네 소놈 사바데네 다 셈쟁게 채와렸어. 로다 셈쟁게 채와 차차 채와 니샤 로다 셈쟁게 채와 니 셈쟁게 치와 차대고서 대야 셈제면나 아니 용두고도 와 셈제 요와 인자 셈제라 되는 잡아고면도 아니 손은 빠도 매바지 아니 로다 타입의 셈제 마게 셈제 탐처럼 매바 잡아고나 아니 셈제 손음자 타입의 싸우고도 와 타입의 성어디 셈제게 치와 타입의 셈제게 치와 차대로 유 셈제 타입의 면나 대중고 말봐 매베치라 다가 내가 소베 산제라 대베 손음 간이바데 산제게 쳐와 차대버렸어. 로다 산제게라 아니 저거 대바제바데 아니 대바제바데 이게 산제게 줄어 줘야돼 산제게 쳐와 차대고 열어봐. 산제게 쳐와 차대고 열어 거기서 땡게 돕스게 되게 이노 셔보고 저 로다 셈제를 저 셈제게 야 땡게 돕티게 용되게 열어봐. 셈제면은 뒤용이 산제면은 뒤용이 말해. 보다데 산제게 쳐와 이노 뒤치 라라 산제게 쳐 주변다 소소라 산제게 그 어느 투주고 연된들 주요 손남 대니가라 찬양배서 대니가라 찬양바 니가가 돈을 연구해서 찬양바 예배나 대다 손남 그 신도 냐바도도 손남 그 신도 냐바도도 셔봐보자.
So of all sentient beings, those, as it says, with a loving mind, when the mind are filled with this love and compassion and the mind of enlightenment, that is saying that the offerings to them bring forth limitless merit. Merit arising from that is obviously limitless. And so this comes from the greatness or the eminence of sentient beings. And simply put, without sentient beings, this is not possible. Similarly, that when one has faith in a fully enlightened Buddha, the merit that accrues is limitless. And this comes from the greatness or the eminence of Buddha. And so this is really the power of the basis, really. And saying without the enlightened being, again, such merit is not possible. So therefore, that the merit that creates the cause that can lead to the state of enlightenment, and both sentient beings and enlightened beings play a part. They're equal in that respect, and therefore that they are equal in, we assert that they are equal in providing like the basis for merit.
다디 뭐쳐봐대 아니 다까지 저거 뒤준내는 소소 냠래라다 자투가 제대 배준 제대 개치 못해도 좋아 당가서 도나 사나 통나다 근데 이번에 딱 거두이네 뭐죠 레당보래 거두이네 레당보 심전냠도 거두이네 랑게다 예버르지로 와 그거 거두이네 예버되네 당 뭐죠 뭐마주 발라테네 아니 디 최주베 통계라 줘야 이거데 제마도 받자 아니 묘몽베게 통계라 줘야 돼 뭐죠다 라레라 간에 줘야되다 모두는 코알에 내대지 용되기도 다 디과 사세게 통계를 배주 당고 여러마다 개와 사세게 통계는 것도 배주 당 두고면 도 당사 여러때 여바든 것도 뭐마주 발때도 배주 당 두고면 도다 디게 대 슝도 따발라단다 뭐트네는 강토도가 다 니마 데리는 소나 강토도가 디게 대 아니 뭐트 받잖아 뭐트에 되는데 말라바자 때문에 돼야 돼 양나 양도 삼로다네 다다디 퇴배 온 그래 랑도고 셔라마 양나 양도 삼로다네 아니 제검제 양나 양도 삼로다네 좀생고 삼로다네 아니 랑도고 녀바장지 좋아 랑도고 녀바장 도바지 제도에 개치 못해도
So texts such as this, these kind of mind training texts, what they are essentially doing is pointing out to us, clarifying the way we should look upon all other sentient beings. So rather than that discriminating like, dislike, alike, and aversion that we have used thus far, it's presenting a whole new paradigm in which we can view sentient beings. And so it's kind of saying it's so important that we increase the importance with which we hold sentient beings, that they are the source of these, of being able to accumulate merit, that they are the basis on which we can fulfill the collections, the two collections of merit and wisdom. And so it's Master Shantideva in this Bodhisattva's way of life is clarifying this for us so that we can recognize what is the priority, what is most important. And so what we are doing then, what we're asked to do is to increase our efforts, to intensify our efforts, to be able to see whatever situation we find ourselves in, and that we never lose this sense of importance of others, of sentient beings, of being so essential, and therefore they deserve our very best efforts to benefit. So that is there. The opportunity is out there all the time. And the difference is that we haven't been taking these opportunities in the past. So now it's saying to be more aware and to seize these opportunities to create virtue, to create the merit, by holding sentient beings as so precious. And so it's the case thus far that we have only had that enthusiasm and readiness to act when it's been an opportunity for negativity. And so what we've got to do is to close that avenue and to open the avenue of virtue that we are looking to seize and to, with great intensity, engage in acts of virtue. And so this text, what Master Shantideva is saying, look, this is how you do this, by seeing sentient beings as far more important, far more essential. And so clarifying that. Now, this is not something that will be easy for us to integrate just by reflecting on it once or twice. We have to actually reach a point where it's a self-won clarity or conviction. And that only comes through our analyzing all these points that Shantideva is making, and to see the logic behind them, and to see how actually there is no choice but to really upgrade our importance, the importance that we hold sentient beings with. And so this can only come through analytical meditation, through contemplating this, and from that then arises this this kind of conviction that we have reached from our own thinking, our own power, and so that it is more likely to be acted upon.
산제이나 뭐저 가서 미과 경고도 위질라 주신 제고도 야나 산제 꾸리 잡으시는 뒤 공고도 샘제를 가야돼 공고보다 소도 틀려 미야 과쳐서 미쳐서는 샘제 통화 열어봐 랑 미야 쳐와서 샘제 틀려 열어 거기 샘제서 가뒤이네 장그 뒤로 유여로 24 hours 7 day 유여로 도와 거뒤이네 국업도 도와 단데 국업도 거뒤이네 국업도 샘제네 뒤들은 잡아다 니제 거면 틀려 펜바투에 삼로 거미에다 아니 지금 강도도 펜토도 보는 뇌마게 털어 빼준지에다 어다디 거기 미국 경우보다 된대로 유여버려도 쭉쭉버려도 어다디 인자 거기에 국업 심토가 지에다 그래도
And so in one way, we have not been taking the opportunities presented to us thus far, that there's far too much emphasis on, even as Buddhists, the figure of the Buddha, our reverence for the state of enlightenment, the offerings to our statues and so on of enlightenment, whereby we are not able to transfer that fervor and faith to benefit sentient beings. So here it's saying that both, as these verses have been pointing out unequivocally, are essential as basis for the merit that we need to attain enlightenment, which after all is our goal. And therefore we need to become expert at seizing the opportunities available to benefit sentient beings.
Yeah, that's so much Sanjay Yunde, Chashe some temper, Simjela Chebe, so no tire about the temper, Ribanetati, but read the tire about the temper, read or the Yimba water bachet, Shibachen, and something was for Sawalia. Yunde Jazo, Tayebe, Sanjay Namdan coming up. Yunde Chozo Chibo, Yunde.
The third of the subheadings for this point is speaking how we should have faith, because if we make offerings to a being who has even a fraction of the qualities of enlightenment, then the merit is limitless. And so verses number, the rest of 116 and 117. But none of them are equal in good qualities with the Buddhas, who are boundless oceans of excellence. Even if the three realms were offered, it would be insufficient in paying veneration to those few beings in whom a mere share of the good qualities of the unique assemblage of excellence appears.
가야 윤대 미냐면 심제 윤대가 차례다 곧 냐면 거래 요 말와 냐바 미냐바레데 대단하야 윤대 초기 또 탐정가베 다음에 겹지고 산제 대에서 윤대 차차 산제 대 토예게 윤대 차차 점 심제 가셔라 나나서 다 되는 요바저랑 요트 나나 될라 최베 된도 다 될라 지금 최베 된도 아니 감소뭐 감성의 뭐보 탐제 표현하여 아주 중앙 교회다 산제가 윤대 주변에 차차 담대바데 될라 대바들라 아니 가서다 차차 점 샘전 가시라 나나 될라 최베 정도 그 감성계 다 감성보 탐제 표 다저 표와 이나야 아니 중앙 교로서 중앙 교나 아니 시행가리나 다지면 다시 받아 다시 보고 왔어 감성 탐제 표와 이나야 거다 표와의 중다 그랬어 셔보죠. 다 된대지 개체부 스탑 개체부 리와스 개체부 인바 인상 아니 뭐다 셔보 표현에 대해서 따지면 숨
And so this point begins with pointing out that yes, the qualities of an enlightened being are like a limitless ocean and inconceivable. And so in this way, of course, there is no sentient being who has can match those qualities. But it's saying also that for a sentient being, right, who has even a tiny part, fraction of the qualities of these Buddhas who are kind of boundless oceans of excellence. They are the unique assemblage of excellent, all right? So, and the kind of incomparable in a way. But if any sentient being who has, any sentient being in whom any tiny fraction of those qualities should appear, should arise, then if we were to make offerings to them, it's saying that if all the objects of all the three realms of existence were offered, that would not match the merits that would accrue. And so therefore, what more needs to be said about the importance of sentient beings, the importance of revering, of helping, of making offering to sentient beings.
nyoba kewa la tena rangi soba komtoba ina ane nyoba kewa te rangi tabata tamje kebe gyucha dugu duwa sobe pachinga nyamlengi gyucha dugu duwa ta dendega gyucha dogen dende penpa dende sanje gyucha iga penpa dende dogen chila ane rangi timbyuge to goya tamla soba timbyuge nyoba chuna tate ta keke mares tila kamsombo pyugo chuna yang pyuna chungdagi res kasi sanje gyutubiya chiga penpa chiga dende len tugu duwa dende len tosa dela kamsom pye chungwa ine chungta gres ane rangi timbu to go tamla soba nyenda la soba timbu je meba chara deda kaya mare sing so sta to da de gogo gurwa.
So for example, if a sentient being were to harm us and we managed to respond with patience, then what has occurred there is the establishment of a cause that would lead to enlightenment itself. So this is referred to in this verse. So that benefit then is so powerful that even if we were to offer all the objects of the three realms of existence, the merit, would be much greater than that offering. So it's kind of again saying to recognize what is the most important, where to put the emphasis in our interactions in this way. And you can see how any interaction, it can become something which is incredibly positively powerful.
내가 최배 유다 감소 표와 있는 충작을 했어. 그래서 산지 주배기 대화 탐자 때뭐 동네 탐자들 제외 줄라나메 바지 주배기 드불라나메 바지 주배기 다 주지 정어도 아니 될 감소 표현 충작을 했어. 시바도 시험 모르겠어. 어떤 된다든지 고고도 어디
So that the benefit is limitless, that accrues from that sort of interaction, and therefore that sentient beings is worthy of being an object of offering, an offering of if we were to offer all the objects of the three realms of existence, that would not be enough to account for the merit that they have been party to, that they have inspired. The final part of this set of outlines talks about the summary, therefore. And so verse number 118. Thus, since sentient beings have a share in giving rise to the supreme Buddha qualities, surely it is correct to venerate them, as they are similar in merely this respect.
차직 심제라 초직 산제 차직 심제 차등도 차제 심제 남라 예배나 대잠다게 차드는 디 토네 드네 가서 대잠다게서 차드네 심제 남라야 산제 신도 그게 초바 자직을 리버 교로 셔바다 리버 이바도 뭐 트네 지고 그랬어 초바 제고 그랬어 셔바죠.
So here we're saying, though sentient beings and enlightened beings are not alike in terms of their good qualities, yet sentient beings have a part in giving rise to the enlightened qualities of a Buddha. And by just that point, just in this respect, therefore, we should have respect for sentient beings in the same way as we have for Buddhas. And therefore, it is right that they are the object of reverence and offerings on our part.
교보 멤버이네 팬토토도 토고 그랬어. 샘제 인사배절 그 상계의 주주사의 싱례도 봐. 대인자고 팬바주도 콜라 팬바주 고고도나 로바주 고고도나 거기 이내 소소 팬바주 투에 미바도나 팬바주 때 콜로들 샘제 탐제도 상계 고마터베 주를 교와 쇼스는 어디를 팬바체 아니 랜다 남이나 라메 바체 팬바주 고고요래.
And so that's as beginners or with our ordinary view, sometimes we view, somebody who is poor as requiring help, and somebody who is not poor as not requiring any help. And so this is a mistaken attitude. Of course, we immediately benefit the one who is poor, but also we never kind of like dismiss the one who isn't poor as not needing help. So when their need arises, we should be there to be of benefit to them as much as possible. Why? Simply because they're a sentient being. And just by the mere fact of being sentient beings, and they fall within the category of those who deserve our benefit, our best in every situation. So therefore, it's those who need help whenever, wherever, however, I will be the one to do that for them, to be there for them.
어디래? 다들인사 아니 굴론들라 아니 저거 뒤로바지나 주마오바 수로바라야 저한테 개매봐 렌다 남이라 저와매봐 오다 심제 탐제도 산제도 토면 귤라 저거도나 저기도 아니 편도서 유대 심제이나 저기도 현 좀세 가야 거뭐 저보다 주고 거구면도 누가 직과 이미 거구면도 어다 가야 거구면도 그 제세 유대 심제이나 저기도 거라 로바 거구 여바제 아니 제사 유대 심제 아니 굴론들라 아니 가서데 렌다 남이가 저와매봐 아니 심제 탐제도 산제 고마트로 주 빠시로 줘야지 아니 dia 미미베 게담네 당사 유 다해 소소게 다 가르 당게 예나 아니 당게 소소 잡아 유대는 맞아 똑바로 팔다서 미바 가서 가서 코소 미미바 다베 수요 와다 된데 쟤네 가자 가서래我的这个团队，俺那个这个三节就怎么三节去了做一些接触呢？大个人给这个对不起，我恐怕写古语了，我真的写，
So our motivation then is to refine down into benefiting where at all possible, and we are doing so by having no discrimination, no bias whatsoever, that each opportunity affords us the opportunity to lay down the cause to attain enlightenment. This is in itself something greatly beneficial, that therefore we must motivate to treat all sentient beings with utmost respect, with wanting to be of benefit when that opportunity arises, regardless of who they are, whether they're rich or poor, whether they have or have not, what country they're from, what nationality they are. It makes no difference. Simply because they are sentient beings, they are all treated in this giving of our best to everyone. And that they will be able to create that, serve for us to create the causes for enlightenment, that our actions to do so, that cause itself, ourselves as the agent of that cause, all will lack any objective existence, merely imputed by thought. And so that being able to combine the mind of enlightenment motivation with that wisdom of emptiness in everything we do is the ultimate way of leading a day, making it the most meaningful.
What is commercial? What in the chat? What in the chat? 다 이내야 오늘 전에 근데 그 뛰어서 뛰죠 오늘 전에 같이 오늘 강에 여봐 아니 교부시고 지금 받아도 어디라 뭐 제외 거는 인데매 그저 가리 내 치고도네 답변은 지금 사회 통해 교부시고 강에 매워 강에 시우주 여봐 되는 거 다들 야 셔바지 오스나 어디 샤네 들으러 같이 해도 요거는 와 이내야 그 통제 야고던 들으러 같이는 제목이 되는 말에 다 거야 콜라야 로바 셔바들 가르치고도 그러는데 로바치엘의 리미나 방고 싶자 강가지게 사회 통해다 대사 계좌 말봐 가셔야 론리 강에 되더라요. 그렇지 고랑 강에도네 강에도 예. 강에 예. 아니 강에 예냐 고라 강에 세다고 야 손좀 강에 뭐지 소소서 삼로 단단 마시네 강에 용 되기도 와. 아 대소리야 또지 봐 어차라 삼로 데레 따올래 데레스타는 근데도 데레스타는 근데도 고 삼로 탄에 랍자 자예 아니 삼로 탄에 랍자 자래 리민다 망보 용거래 베나 가시 리치 출루 최 켈링게 이마이나 베나 최 이슈 켈링게 이나 아 이슈고 최고 삼로 탄에 소소 남바 이바이네 파조 이슈고 최고 삼로 탄에 양코라 강에 셋업지에 양코라 가지 이바이나 아 가지 최라 대바 전부 이번 안에 가지 그 최고 삼로 단단한테는 양코라 강에 셋업지에 삼로부터는 야 가시 아 최초에 케어만는 거 이바이나 야 최초에 케어만는 거 이번 들이가서 세리게 팀배도는 야즉 장바의 닝제다 아니야 콘트로드족이야 이문 스스로 견제나 랑게 최대한 누구 요바 깨지셔야 된대도는 삼로단에 그 삼로 된대다는 근데도 다 낭바지 이번에 낭배 최고 돈에 하는 삼로 된대다는 근데도 아 그런 자소를 지에 되는 연구로 봐 어디 거기 탑시 민자외 돈에 코랑게 릭다 투베돈에 강에 셋업지에 코랑게 릭다 투베돈에 코랑게 되바다 투베돈에 강에 셋업지에 좀 그러봐 어떤데 강에 생계 강에 망보제 그 변조 유미 계절에 뭐도 교부 유미 계절 뭐도 그 삼로 단단 마시는 용도가 아니 코랑게 지금 저유배 아니 출루이나다 최케 말랭게다 코랑데 저유배 가리터 코랑 쌤 이지 체제가 디톤에 깨졌네 아니 지금 강에 셋업지에 어디도 개침버려도 대단도 전부는 변조 통계의 갈거서 야도 저도 생계 강의 슈체도 체도 저도 봐 생계 강의 슈체도 저도 그 삼로 단단이 넣어지게 요마 아니 내 코랑에 감다 tumbe 돈에 아니 삼로 단단게 야 랑가 소에 좀 물어봐
So, of course, we're out there trying to integrate the mind of enlightenment and the wisdom of realizing emptiness and motivation in all that we do. Naturally enough, it becomes natural to want to benefit those who are very obviously in need of benefit initially. So the poor, the deprived, and that we can be of a positive influence there. Something that we can see the benefit perhaps, but that doesn't mean that we discount those who are living with a good kind of conditions, the high standard of living, etc., etc. That this is where we need to use our skillful means, and so we have to meditate on how best to be able to help all sentient beings, to have a kind of a many feathers in our bow, to help. Perhaps there are those who are lonely, who are encountering other psychological problems, and thinking how is it that we can be of benefit to them. If they happen to be, say, followers of Christianity, that we acquaint ourselves with the psychology of Christianity and try to help them through their own way of thinking. Similarly, if they're followers of Islam, to try to find some of the teachings of Islam that will be of more acceptable to them, and that they may be benefited in that way. So again, if they have no religious inclination whatsoever, they see themselves as atheists, that you resort to scientific thinking, to bring up the scientific research on the cultivation of love and compassion as a means of strengthening our immune system, for example. And so in this way, they may be helped. And similarly, if you're talking with a fellow Buddhist, then of course you can make the connection through the Buddha's own teachings, according to their way of thinking, most of all, to offer alternatives for them to be of help, benefit. And so it's important to be able to respond with kind of like to have like a lot of valid reasoning, really, to counteract, because this is a world which is dominated by economic markers of how well or unwell a society is. And as such, because of that emphasis, then the thinking, the quality of our own thinking is degenerating.
当然，当然是 homeless 的多，听说了这个这句呢，这句呢 ，hello， 给他写着了，他可能是引起给那个人要嘛，人怕给他写，可能人家这个什么大业务的算了，可能说你叫老板没吧，忙不这个，可能说老板没吧，这因为现在刚才提这个农历说的是多，忙着东的了店长，没跟个同中介绍说了，这可能说这话这个没吧是，米这了马水工说了，差点到人家，那听说了也会给他写着呢，就有了。
And so, of course, you know, it's not necessary to have such a kind of a defined intention when we meet people, especially for the first time. What is important at the outset is to make a close connection. It is important to get to know people, just to say hello, how are you, and to engage in a kind of friendly banter is important. And that this closeness is well, like often our inability to be of help is that we haven't broken the ice really with others and been able to hear what their issues are. And so that loneliness in particular, that as well.
我听着到看着嘛，我听着想，但听着印度这个我那都期间那忙着米的米这话也不没被看开始多，本来中班人在呢，那刚开始呢，因为对给这些上面这个刚开始多，刚开始多。
So this is a notable problem amongst the Western culture, where there is this difficulty for Westerners to have a one-on-one communication with others, kind of like this sense of distance between each other.
对对对，那感觉其他西面的人，那其他西面来给这些呢，对对对，其他西面来给这些的，没来给这些在没把打听个有了人家。
So sometimes, like the way a dog and a cat might communicate. When you see people communicating like that, there's sort of a certain distrust and antagonism, perhaps.
可是呢，其他西面出来了个嘛，可是罗里面打听个有了，他会给这些事来个有嘛的。
So that's kind of like perhaps there's a loneliness there that is being left unspoken, and therefore they can't find some commonality to discuss.
是行。我觉得他肯定有在这个肯定呢，在我两个就是别忙不多。
So therefore, to making that connection is all important.
我觉得，你得下下个，得下。
And so let's leave it there for today.
他让个对给能干了，这个那么特别我们写的，我提供就行。
So we and let's bring our mind to bear on the figure of the Shakyamuni Buddha, the Guru Munindraja Buddha, out in the space in front.
我真的是，那真的，告诉的，他这看送抓着就搞吧，给我赢不赢呢？那这东岸了嘛对不的，他东岸绝对的，那瞧吧对这个东岸了嘛对不的，他瞧吧对这个东岸的。没把马上给把它当个就我那站那个那基本我那站那基本有人就没把的打没把的我对这个东个想法就把人呐是吧的搞把基本的然后有嘛的搁在地的然后有嘛的是吧他真的因为对你这个真的因为对他地的这话就嘛说他们都是人也把就严重就恐怕些真的严重给落地让给结果了一个棒子的就是说上这些밤에 용서 줘봐야 돼. 아니 제가 가서 뼈만 담아 개발치를 교수 상상자.
And so we reflect on the fact that in all of the three realms of existence, there is no spot free from suffering. How we suffer, the suffering of change, and most of all, pervasive suffering. And until we are free from pervasive suffering, there is no really fully qualified happiness to be experienced. It is beyond us. And so here then, We see we have no power over this. We have no power over where we're reborn and so on. And so this gives rise to a sense of renunciation, of wanting a sense of definite emergence from this reality. This then is symbolized by the syllable bam. And this bam transforms into a lotus mandala seat on our crown.
다 심제 탐제 그도 산제 고마 토바 지기 인스 토바 지기 인스게 나데 가바도 제죠 안 제죠는 데 류들에도 셈들에도 파제죠 다 가다 류선이도 많이 받 뭐처럼 그러와 다 딜레션 맞 가바도 다 제죠 건 이기면도 와 알고다 많이 받다가란 갈라 가자 가삼 다가란 갈라 셈마샤
Then this self the way I want to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. What is the status of that I? When we search for that in the body and mind, go through the analysis, and we don't find it. And this is merely not finding the object of negation, placing our focused attention on that momentarily.
이게 지원을 이게 혼그 배매도 이게 혼지 就삼사자 혼의 용서 就完了 아니 님의经过약화지 就说삼사자.
And so through focusing on the mere negation of the object of a negation, it then arises this syllable home, and this home transforms to become the sun mandala seat on our crown.
오다 심제 탐제거도 오다 된데 임바 인자 아니 심제 탐제거도 산제 고마 주변 오다 주변지 요사래 가서나 그 유대는 주바서는 두사 매츠도 거다 때대 중앙에도 아니 규경 소소는 용되기도 아니 된데 임바다 년중 장세 양답에 따와서 소다 되게 봐 총도 아니 전에 사주 라마도 산제 고마서도 요 타주 다든데 요바이는 예 주변 탐시만 자원인데 죽으면도 때리 이제 심제 탐제거도 산제 고마 맞으는 지금부터 대한 유언이도 주바 지기 선을 고마 지시.
So then this wanting to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings comes into focus, because when we reach the conclusion that phenomena do not have any independent existence, therefore we conclude that they arise independence. They are dependent arising. This puts everything back into play so that we can cultivate renunciation, the mind of enlightenment, and the correct view, and ultimately attain the state of enlightenment. That I realize then, not only have I now the means by which to do that, but the mindset of the determination to do so. I will attain that state of enlightenment, and I will do so as quickly as possible. And this is transformed into the moon disk mandala seat. Then we utter the invocation verse. O glorious and precious Guru, come take your lotus and moon seat placed here at my heart, and my crown. Keep me safe in your kindness. Bestow on me the attainments of body, speech, and mind. At the end of the first recitation, the figure moves from the space in front towards our crown. At the end of the second, the Buddha has arrived at our pre-prepared seat. And at the end of the third, we have the certainty that the Buddha will remain until we attain enlightenment. Then we make the offerings of the 7 limbs of practice and the mandala offering.
tsuba pake. And then they get young yebe lotte and Casada de Casada Rangi Ninga Ninga Las, Rangi Ninga de Ningde and Casarang Ninde Casota, you get Pamjela Joso, some says Pam Yonso Jovale and Pamatama Jabachela Joso, some chat.
Again, we reflect on the suffering of all sentient beings in cyclic existence, how unbearable that is, how we want to gain release from that, and thereby generating that mind of renunciation, which is symbolized at our own heart center by the syllable Bam. And this Bam then is transformed into the lotus mandala seat at our heart.
Simja Tamjaka Dondale, Sanja Kumar Tubi is and Gati Kabato Secho, but because of Lugitendo Secho, Semgitendo Secho, Takaja, Kabasecho in a young, Koti Ranjin at Secho, the Koranshin Matuba in Sako near Koremdua. And the money bataka Kaja Kazam Taka Semsha, Lenisha, and then they get the Nebe Lotte Nikaja, the Casoda. Because of the Yigi Hongchilla Joso, such a payment of the Yigi Hongchilla Joso, only Yonso Jovale, and you make it with Yakawachi Joso, sometimes. The name just that's a jet to Sanjay Combat to Yegota, to Yechi, Munetana Yetajurisha, Casco, you didn't do a medical, then it went to Jujan on a young digger. Today, that's a jet to Sanjay Combat. To a yearning in Matuna to give to some such a subject Sanjay Combat. No, you don't talk about chicken in Southern Combacha. And then they get Nebe Dubati and Casolata, you Achila, Nibetan. I also do what I read when Yakon Joso subject.
In the aspiration we have to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, that I, that self, we really put that to the analysis. We go through and search for that self in the body and mind, and not finding it. This gets a lack of any inherent existence of the self. And we merely use placement meditation when we reach that point in the analysis of the mere not finding of the object of negation. And then from that arises this mind. From that mind arises the Hong syllable, which transforms at our heart center into the sun mandala seed. And then reflecting on how we can now attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings merely by the conclusion that phenomena cannot exist objectively. And so from that, it allows for us to accumulate all the causes to reach that point of enlightenment to benefit all sentient beings. This is symbolized by the syllable A. That A transforms into the moon mandala seat at our heart.
And a pandesa, Lamarubuja, Ninga Primita, Kusu to Jogo Sato, what a Sunday channel, Chiwoke, Lamatuang with the Mina, Sunday Chawa, and we are second number changer, and Chiwalamatuang with the Ranga Chiwana, Majune, which is a Rangi Ninga Gotolapa penny, and because of Nibakos, Subtension, Sanja Kumabato, just what I was so today, Pamata Machiba, the Marcos, the Union that Antica to Jacob Sanga Kaja, the Tabo, the Timbets died of Monument Mamas, Ribasunga. 지도 잠에서 오마라 바자나티 타고도 땡레고 송아 오마 예다마 에도도 마샤마나 예소 될 무슨 거들 고마시.
At the end of the invocation verse again thrice. O glorious and precious root Guru, come take your lotus and moon seat placed here at my heart. Keep me safe in your kindness, restore me the attainments of body, speech, and mind. At the end of the first recitation, the figure moves down through our crown chakra into the central channel. At the end of the second recitation, the figure arrives at our pre-prepared seat at the heart. And at the end of the third, we once again have that beautiful certainty that the Buddha will remain looking after us, caring for us until we attain the state of enlightenment. Then the petals of the lotus fold over and are sealed at their tips by a white 5-pronged vajra. And that package is surrounded by 3 mantras. The name mantra of Shakyamuni Buddha in a clockwise direction, the mantra of Manjushri in an anti-clockwise direction, and the mantra of dependent arising again in a clockwise direction. And then the process of purification begins through countless rays of light emanating from the Buddha within, permeating through every cell of our body, from the crown of the head to the soles of the feet, and purifying all negativities that we have accumulated since beginning this time in general, as including the 10 non-virtues for killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, of lying, harsh speech, divisive speech, and idle gossip, malicious intent, of covetousness and wrong view. All the negativities that have been prescribed by the Buddha, or naturally occurring negativities, negativities associated with this life, or the one previous to this, the one previous to that, and indeed going right back to beginningless time. And also all of the degenerations and infractions and downfalls associated with pratimoksha, bodhisattva, or tantric vows. And then all obstacles to our own physical our mental wellness, that there are obstacles to our being able to put the body and mind at the service of Dharma practice, they are completely purified. All imbalances relating to the elements, the channels, winds, and drops are also rebalanced and rendered pliant and capable of kind of ready for our practice. And in particular, the main obstacle to our quickly being able to attain enlightenment, being ordinary view, this is transformed into pure view. And this is all as purification is something that we now rejoice in.
소소 시도 저 루드 니랭게 라마 샤자서 구데 렌제 지게질 소소르드 라마 샤자서 구르 주소 섬자자 소소 시도 저 셈네 라마 샤자서 투데 렌제 지게질 소소 셈데 라마 샤자서 투라 주소 섬자 랑게 룽아 예소다 라마 샤자서 구송동 예메 주소 소데 대와데 대외 동바데 대토니스메 위시 계속 섬사죠 이 계속 섬사 자 아니 되네 랑게 내사게 내데 녀기 겨 탐제 And
through the combination of my own more subtle wind acting as the substantial cause, together with the Buddha, the body of the Buddha acting as the cooperative conditions, my own body is transformed into the enlightened body of a Buddha. Through the combination of my own more subtle mind or consciousness, acting as the substantial cause, together with the mind of the Buddha acting as the cooperative conditions, my own mind is transformed into the enlightened mind of a Buddha. Now I see my own body, speech, and mind as something which is inseparable from the body, speech, and mind of a Buddha. This is something that's wonderful. I rejoice in this. I feel this sense of bliss, which combines with avoidance. And I am able to abide in the wisdom of non-dual bliss and voidness. Similarly, the place that I am in is cleansed of all fault and becomes the palatial abode of an enlightened being.
다 라마 샤자스가 구조토도 뭐 예매 주었다 나라라시 매자 삼로다 나라라시 매와 삼로다네 아니 대 두가를 라마 샤자스가 빠도 매버다 심제가 자는 뭐 파트네 감송 좋아리 주고 심제 탐제라 아니 라마 샤자스가 차상와리 티발라 때네 대다 탐자의 기지가 라마 샤자스가 구조토도 뭐 예매 주 삼사 대다 내사가 네 아니 나와이다 두돌라서 밀할 하마이라 소메타 송가도 소메칸게 할라 소메타 까지 내사게 내 대다 탄제자 아니 가서도 가서 교회타제 되네 아니 라마샤자스가 다베시도 줄수 삼사시 보다 감송 그 코아데 바 동네 아니 감송 그 심제 탐제 라마산제 고마타는 오다 야고시고 중소 다 심제 탐제게 산제 심제 탐제 산제 고마라 거기 삼사게 니가 삼로데 니마 데린 줍수 삼나 가고
Then, seeing myself as a fully enlightened being, equal in body, speech, and mind to a fully enlightened being, also lacking any inherent existence whatsoever, I send out countless rays of light, equal in number to all of the sentient beings in all the three realms of existence. And upon dissolving into their crowns, they spontaneously arise as fully enlightened beings. The places that they are in, whether the hell realms, the asuras, the hungry spirits, the animals, the celestial beings in the desire realm, etc., and the form and formless realms, etc., all of the realms are purified of all fault and become, again, fully enlightened, palatial abodes of enlightened beings. Then I pause to reflect on having achieved this incredible aspiration to lead all sentient beings to that state of enlightenment. Today is the day I've managed that. How wonderful.
대 두근 소소의 제바가 유대는 주바스가 뒤상에 요만에 섬매고 코다 줘봐 공부시 아니 다 동바디 엔 대화계별 로디 아니 동바계네 대돈이스면 시켜서 선도 공부차.
And how this leading all sentient beings to the state of enlightenment and the virtue that has facilitated that, myself as the agent of that virtue, all lack any objective existence, even at the atomical level. They're merely imputed by thought. And just abiding in that understanding that produces this sense of emptiness, which combines with bliss, and I abide in the wisdom of non-dual bliss and voidness.
그래 다다 먼저 삼로다에 매바 이제래 근데 내려보시다 요 말봐 이내야 다다 먼저 미 삼로 코바나시 다다 뭐고 다다디 제보지 고반나 신체는 문에 코나 제보된데 마주바 타면도 돼 아니 두배 줄이 좋아쇼 아니 디 델레스 용말라 라니 산제 고마마도 타면도 라니 산제 고마토바나 잠지 장주선다 돈이 두배 시라니 냠네게 티도 마소나 타면도 덴데 임바다 타게 미지디 단에 손도 미지디 링데 사나 존나 되나 녀나 다가네 기부주나 두부주나 내단 근제지 차바 이나야 장주가 쓰다 동만이 또베 시라 계획에는 튕겨도 주투바지 디 튕겨도 주투바지 지금 아니 제발 배주 지금 디체도 주투바지 써서 타마 시바이네 시바디야 장주가 동이 또베 시라 계획에는 튕겨라 주투바 지금 써서 담자 샤제 어디를 공부시체 어디를 체
And of course, we do not enjoy results as we have described, as simply as that, as easily as that. And yet, knowing, even though that we're acting at the level of imagination and aspiration, when we set our dedication, we do so with the deep sincerity that we will do whatever it takes to quickly attain that state of enlightenment for real, that this result that we are contemplating may be made manifest for real as quickly as possible. And knowing that, in order to bring that about, I must rededicate myself to being able to use every situation in life, whether I'm going, moving, staying still, whether the conditions are conducive or not conducive, whether I'm sick or well, and even at the point of death, that I will always act through being motivated by the mind of enlightenment and the wisdom realizing emptiness. And that is the way in which I make this result and manifest for real in life. And so I will do whatever I possibly can to make that happen. Lai ma san ye ru ne ro che kyang ma lu cha ne sa go pa xiu dan de shen ju ren bo che ma ke pa nan ke gyu che ke pa nyam pa me pa yang dong ye gong yu han su dong ni da wa ren bo che ma ke pa nan ke gyu che ke pa nyam pa me pa yang dong du per su Shin kam de pen dan wa ma lu den we pen we zi guang pen jin ya so yi ya pen si pe ban de ken gyu chi te chen chen re zi wang go jam Dang chen ken pe tu ken tong ka pa lo sang drai pe sha lo so wa de me te we te chen re zi Nui me ken pe wong go jam pe yang dang ken pe tu ken song ka pa lo sang rai pe sha lo so de me te we te chen re zi Nui me ken pe wong go jam pe yang Dang ken pe tu ken tong ka pa lo sang rai pe sha lo so ne me te we te chen re You are Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of compassion, not aimed at true existence, and Manjushri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, destroyer of hordes of demons without exception. Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sages of the land of snows, Losang Drakpa, at your feet, I make request.
Also, thank you.
Also, thank you, Genla.
Take care.
Also, thanks, guys.